Start and
You can start.
cool, lovely. So yeah, hello everyone. This is Abuzar. I work as a senior cloud security engineer at Sage, and also I worked independently with different customers as a cloud security consultant. Um, and mainly working on governance as code and assurance as code, codifying the policies and making it help easy for the customers or organizations to adopt the security for the cloud, since it's been incredibly diverse environment for different organizations, and due to the gap in the security and between the security and the development teams lately, uh, uh, adopting the security hasn't really been baked into the cloud security journey for many organizations. And now currently many organizations are sitting as with a massive backlog to remediate in their cloud environments, and specifically. So I have worked with multiple organizations, including the one I work for full time, to adopt the security culture, which helps us leads towards a self-governing cloud infrastructure, self-governing cloud, not just the famous one, or not just the mainstream ones like AWS and Azure, but also any other cloud environments which supports the policy as code. So what exactly is self-governing cloud is not just like a one-stop solution for any using one tool to remediate, to cover off everything, and adopt a self and automated governing cloud, but also it's like a mix and match of different tools that we can use from the very beginning of code deployment all the way up to when it goes into the infrastructure, deploying the infrastructure, and deploying the policies and the configuration in the cloud. So how I'm helping the organizations to develop such sort of environment is to start early, start slow, and create policies, translate policies from their traditional axles, from their traditional documentation forms into actual the 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 policies like in the code form, and deploy it with the various range of tools. One of them is definitely the Cloud Custodian, which is, I'd really like about this. The Cloud Custodian is how simple is it to use, to explain it to the people who are not very technical, the people who have different backgrounds from information security, governance, and risk, to educate them how the policy works and how we can enforce such a policy for auditing, soft deployment, hard deployment kind of things, to eventually adopt a very strict level of guardrails policies, which provides business excellence as well as security first approach, to ensure that we are not just creating an infrastructure to which is complying with various frameworks, but also it complies with the company's own organization's own policies. So the whole thing, how it works is we first discover the asset. So we cannot define the policies without identifying the boundaries. So with the cloud, it could be really tricky, because we cannot have defined boundaries except the account numbers or number of accounts we have. But inside what happens in those accounts and subscriptions and projects in GCP, it's limitless what we can do in those. And having to work with development teams, the developers, the ratio between security and the developers is mostly like 1,000 to 1 ratio, where we have to address these security issues. And at this scale, it's nearly humanly impossible to have to determine what we need to protect. So defining the discovering of assets, identifying the gaps and auditing capabilities is one of the most important thing that I have discovered recently working with different organizations. And then it follows by defining the culture to start remediating those. So remediation of the policy could be tricky because the many of the cloud security posture management tools doesn't really work on a runtime, not so much in a runtime. So it's like it works based on the events, the cloud trails. So uh, then only then it identifies the problem. So remediation could open up a loop which could kind of disturb the pipeline deployments, because people not only use the console deployments, people use the pipelines, people use different kind of environments like shell, like different kind of CI buckets or CI tools to deploy their the infrastructure as code. So automatic remediation is one of the solution we identified. I identified for different kind of organization with different kind of stakeholders. So having to deal with thousands of people and the magnitude of this problem could not be solved with just with only the automatic remediation, but also to educate people that what exactly they are going to get into. So that's a kind of strategy I've been taking so far with the people, interacting with more developers, with more teams who deploys code, who are the main stakeholders of using the cloud in the organization. And these kind of things are really has really been helpful. Adopting the culture followed by the hard policy deployments, wherein we actually take actions upon the violations of our policies. So and then there comes in the continuous monitoring. The continuous monitoring has been really helpful, and the collaboration between the development teams and the security has been really helpful, adopting the culture wherein we have worked together with many teams, where we actively collaborate through Slack, through Teams or any other communication channels, not the service now, not the PagerDuty, not any ticketing system wherein people these tickets just gets batted down the hundreds of other tickets, and we forget about things to prioritize. But active collaboration between team members and security engineering or security departments. So I'm talking about here like 4 to 5 thousand developers working with 4 to 5 engineers to deal with the issue, and having to deal with multiple hundred of accounts in production and devs and other environments. So that has been very useful so far with the active collaboration, enforcement of policies, defining, detecting the assets, and these kind of stuff. But also, the final approach we like to take is to patch them permanently with our guardrails policies, and fail people fast so that they can even get notified before their code gets into the cloud. So when we develop a culture within the people who doesn't really have much background of security, we and when we educate them, it makes our life easier, and people get, gets a whole awareness of how they want to deal with their environment, and specifically around the policies which has the infrastructure policies which is mainly used for certain kind of resources. Like one of the biggest challenge we mainly faced, not just we're here at Sage, but also with the other organization I work with. Uh, uh, the networking, the basic networking principles are usually gets neglected, and these open up a whole portal and opportunities for the attackers to attack and actually create zombie machines on our infrastructure, which could end up in disaster. And we have dealt with multiple incidents, trying to address incidents related to this, and we have been trying to address such kind of issues ever since. So the laying down the foundation work, as I discussed earlier as well, it's not going to take out of the box. It requires a lot of effort from different people, a lot of commitment from different teams, specifically with the DevOps security, combining making a DevSecOps program, not just on the deployment level, not just on the pipeline level, but also adopting, embracing security as a responsibility of everyone, not just security, but actually all the teams. So in my experiences, we have successfully developed such kind of environments wherein we put together the policy definition in enforcement mode with a very simple language, so that uh, all our non-technical people, the people who works in governance, who work in risk and these kind of departments, can actually then also provide their feedback on how we can use the policy. So the creativity doesn't have a limit, and all the creativity we get from different people who works in different departments can actually provide us a lot of insights about how we can improve and continuously improve upon our policies. So having such a simple language, uh, uh, allowing us create a very simple policies, is helping us out expanding our security program in the cloud. So second one is remediation of non-conformities. Is it doesn't always starts automatically. Automatic remediation always isn't always our first priority, but actually identifying the problems and asking people to first do the manual work so that they can actually feel the problem they have caused, the actual issues, the loopholes they have been leaving behind, so that they can always ask us, how to fix them. So only when we bring out the big guns and tell them about the auto remediation policies to patch up those non-conformities and actually lay down the brickwork, the foundation work for the self-governing cloud, which helps us leads to no findings whatsoever, and also uh, uh, be able to comply with the industry standards, which is required by the business and the business to operate in certain markets. Runtime prevention of the policy by enforcing the baseline prevention policy is our go-to approach towards actually enforcing the policies in preventive mode. So as I mentioned, to fail fast people so that they can actually feel the pain. I go a little hard on the people when it comes to the policy, but this is how what I've understood. The human psychology sometimes doesn't really work when we try to teach them, but sometimes you have to give them some hurdles, to the obstacles to cross. So this has worked really well. It has made the culture, really adoptive culture in the organizations, and successfully being able to develop the whole self-governing cloud, which wherein we have a really good peace of mind. That we do not have to actually involved into a lot of stuff all the time. So but instead we hand over a lot of stuff to the people. But also this the whole self-governing cloud with automatic remediation and prevention policies doesn't always work in an ideal world or ideal use case scenarios. But instead we have to manage a lot of exceptions. We have to manage a lot of exemptions when it comes to deploying the policies. For example, a lot of people likes to host their static websites on the S3 buckets, which doesn't comply with one of a very strict policy we need to comply with, which is public access for the S3 buckets. Though unsolicited access could be prevented. So the exceptions can be managed. So we actually have designed the policies in such a way that we can also accommodate the exceptions. We can also identify the exceptions by using the tagging policies, by using creating tags to identify exceptions so that people can actually deploy in a certain way.
Sorry to interrupt. About 2-minute warning.
Okay, cool.
Sorry.
So lastly, it's rather a tricky question. It's not a one-stop solution. Cloud Custodian, like this cloud security posture management, can help in a certain extent. Automatic remediation is a great asset, but not always helpful. But we also need to use different mix and match of different tools to it could be cloud native or third party tools to deploy the configs, the SCP policy, the prevention policies, and the guardrails to improve the security posture. At the end of the day, it's always about the business. We need to ensure the business excellence is not interrupted, but also need to ensure that security, whatever is required by security by the business, is also been followed, also been complied with. Uh, and lastly, as a as an end goal, we try to keep the developers away from the main infrastructure, but keep them only limited, or at least at some extent, to the pipelines, wherein we try to fail them fast. They develop the whole code securely. We scan the code with different plugins, open source plugins, so that we can ensure that before it goes to infrastructure, it actually gets scanned, and people are able to uh, develop the code which is secure enough for the infrastructure. So that's about it. This has been my experiences working with different organizations on cloud environments in Azure, AWS, GCP. It's been really wonderful, and yeah, there's been some challenges. By we have faced. I have already discussed about most of them, but bridging the gap between development and security is has been really helpful. Has been really, a kind of the essence of this whole journey for us. And lack of strategic thinking in some engineers could be disastrous, but we always try to fix it. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you. This is my favorite slide.
Thank you. Any questions for Abuzar? I know it's lunchtime. Everyone was talking about lunch. What time is it? So you're right on time.
Yep.